I'm Ginny Just.
And I'm Beth Sobeloff, and we're
Two Grannies on the Road.
Welcome back to Two Grannies on the Road. Today we're interviewing Marie Younger-Blackburn. Marie is the Senior Event Planner at Simply Black and White Catering and Events. She also serves as the CEO, Visionary, and Event Planner of Driven Women, Cape Cod's Conference for Women. Marie serves on the board of the Cape Cod YMCA and the Cape Cod and Islands Wedding Group. She is also Vice Chair for the Mashpee CPAC, and Marie has received an award from BNI for the Most Notable Networker. She's also a Referral Institute Networker graduate, and she was recently appointed Commissioner of the Cape and Islands Commission on the Status of Women. She's the former chair of the Mashpee Human Services and Mashpee Housing Authority. That was a mouthful. Marie, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Beth. Thank you.
Marie, I have a question for you. How has your career changed and evolved over the years?
I've evolved, and my career has evolved, obviously, simply because, first and foremost, I am a mother. I'm a mother of three children who were born in three different decades. So I have a 34-year-old, a 25-year-old, and an 11-year-old. So because of that, I think I had to adapt. First of all, living on Cape Cod causes you to adapt because we have a seasonal economy, and having three children in 3 decades causes you to adapt. So in that time, I think I've grown and, gathered more education. I started off with a culinary degree and, again, had to adapt to my circumstance and where I was, and I got some certification in human services and did some of that kind of work, but always had that foundation of the hospitality industry, always had that to fall back on. So I've, did everything from cooking and been a chef, and also event planning, like you say, and just kind of incorporating everything that I do into a career.
What challenges have you faced as you have tried to reinvent yourself at various times over the years?
Many challenges. Again, the seasonal economy on Cape Cod causes you to have to figure it out. Often, I think I began with calling myself what I want it to be and then really working into it. And there's always challenges. There's financial challenges to some of the work, logistical challenges, time, with being a mom over the years. But I've always been able to overcome the challenges.
Good. What prompted you to go into the catering business in the first place?
I think my mother said that I was born with a rattle in my hand saying "party" in the playpen, and I've come to believe that because everything is a party to me. I was told once by a life coach. She said, "You're a beauty type, that you see the beauty in everything." And I seem to be able to look at something like that cup over there and say, "Ooh, that's inspiration," and I feel a party coming on, right? So really, and that's how I feel. And that's the way I look at things, and I've been able to create and do. I'm kind of forgetting your question now that I've gone on. Tell me again what.
What prompted you to go into the catering business?
So because of, I think it's in my nature and just in my family, just hospitality and partying. When I was very young, I used to prepare food for my father when he had guests over to watch the Saturday basketball games or football games, and I would fry fish, and my dad would pay me like $5 to cook for his friends, and it kind of spurred me on. But when I was young, I wanted to go to culinary school after thinking that I wanted to go and become an accountant. But I had to reconcile the fact that I can't sit still, and I don't know numbers. So I was actually accepted to the University of Hartford, Connecticut, and I was going to be an accountant. And I quickly realized before I left that that was not my calling. And I then had to regroup and make it happen for myself to be able to go to culinary school, and it was just a better fit. I remember going to my dad and in my teenage years, maybe around 16, and saying, "Dad, I want to be a chef." And we were laying down on the bed, and he said, "Marie," he said, "how many chefs do you know?" And I was like, "None." And he said, "And how many black women chefs do you know?" And I was like, "None." And that was basically his answer. He had 2 daughters in Tufts University in professional, getting degrees, and I was supposed to follow in that line. And it just wasn't for me. It wasn't. I had to, so I raised my money and did my own thing to be able to go to Johnson & Wales to get a culinary degree. And he's proud of me today.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is.
Do you feel like we should have confetti coming down on her right now? I mean,
Oh, it's quite a story, if I were to tell the whole story. And it's one of those stories of perseverance and really understanding yourself and where you belong. And it's just part of who I am, just that do your own thing, and make it happen kind of personality. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you about your aunt who recently passed away, and I heard her story. You told us her story, but I'd like you to tell the audience about your aunt.
Okay. Yes. So my aunt, her name is Mildred Haley. I call her the original driven woman, and it is very much a part of my family's story and a community service. My aunt was a servant, and she was the executive director of the Bromley Heath Housing Authority, which was the first tenant-managed housing authority in the country, which went on to be an international model. She had a belief that people had the ability to take control of their own lives, no matter what their station was. I know that she saw all people as if, right, with potential. She's was well beyond her time with understanding the drug epidemic, that we're now beginning to understand that people are sick and that they need support and help. She championed not only housing, but things like gay rights and the drug epidemic, mental health issues. So she, without formal education or credentials, had a 40-year career that spanned this country and beyond, and had reached to the White House. She had the ear of President Reagan, Jack Kemp, and others. So we're really proud of her, and I dedicate this conference this year that I'm putting on to my aunt, Mildred Haley.
nice.
She's quite something.
How did the idea of the Cape Cod Conference for Women come about?
Again, I have been a mother for so many years that often my hopes, dreams, and desires kind of got derailed at the things that I want to do and have the potential to do. And I think I've always had an understanding that there's purpose. You have purpose in life, right? And I think my purpose is big. It's to reach a lot of people and to inspire. I did a purpose statement with a life coach some years ago, and she said, what do you think your purpose is? And I said, to inspire by the written and spoken and poetic word of God. I actually I remember writing that years ago, but to see it play out in the lives of other people is just something. So I simply was sitting with a friend, and we were discussing our what's next. And it was after I completed the Referral Institute and discovered my why. Why do I do the things I do in life? And I said, just simply, I want to bring a conference for women to Cape Cod. And it was inspired by the Mass Conference for Women, the 11,000 women that converge on Boston once a year. And I said, I want to do that here in Cape Cod. And in 5 short months, I sounded the alarm, pulled together women, inspired them to bring the best of what they have to the table. And in 5 months, we pulled out a very successful conference. And now we're in our 2nd year, and
It
we're
was
growing.
a great conference.
Thank you.
It really was.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And so this coming conference is March 10th. It'll be the second one.
Yes.
What will you be changing about this conference as a result of the experience of the first conference?
Attention to detail. They said that our details were very well last year, but there's things that you learn, right? You learn what people need. So one of the things that I've taken the time to do was to really explore what's useful and relevant right now, like in the headlines. So I really set out to bring women information that they could use to, part of our mission statement, information that you can use to go out and be the change in your own community. So that's really listening to what's useful and relevant in the community on the national news, and really pulling in that kind of talent that can deliver the information that women are really looking for. So I'm just going to pay attention to the details. I'm not looking to duplicate last year. I'm not looking to better take it up a notch, because I think when you do the work and you work really hard at doing it and really are passionate about that thing, that happens, you know, authentically. And I think it doesn't all depend on me. It depends on the guests that come and the enthusiasm that comes to the conference. So my job is to inspire women to come and to be ready and to bring the best of what they have and to share that. So a lot of good networking will occur.
Well, who do you think should come to this conference?
I think anyone who is like-minded, like I am. I don't look for everyone to come. I think that it's for people that our message speaks to. So if you're looking to grow personally or professionally, if you're looking to connect with people, if you're looking to be open to possibilities and to grow and to be inspired, then I think this conference is for you.
Tell us about the program format. What is actually going to be happening that day?
Okay, so this year's theme is called Women Who Make a Difference in the Lives of Others. So I'm really proud to have gathered 6 of the leading nonprofits on Cape Cod. They're not the only nonprofits, but they're 6 of the ones that can lend some information to all areas. So we're going to start off with the CEOs and executive directors of places like the Cape Cod YMCA, an organization called We Can that provides services to women, Independence House, women with domestic violence issues. We have someone that will address the opiate addiction, just to name a few. So we have 6 on our opening panel. We have High Energy, again this year. We'll have Cape Cod African Drum and Dance that will bring that energy up and just get us excited. And then we'll break into our first of 12 workshops. So we have things like the areas of finance, leadership and branding. We have stress management, work-life balance, organization. Some of the typical topics that you'll find at a women's conference. However, we ask for bring the dynamic piece to that and to do it with a twist. So we have over 30 vendors on hand, closer to 40 this year, vendors in all the beautiful shopping that you want to do. Also information like education, business development, mortgage help, banks. We have all that on hand. Some great shopping, like I said, for women, jewelry and clothing, makeup. We have hair. We have a professional photographer for headshots right on site. So I think we tried to cover our bases and make sure that there's something for everyone. And we also have 2 very dynamic keynote speakers that one will speak at the Oceanfront Luncheon, and one will speak at the end of the day and close us out with a town hall style closing.
So it starts at what time?
So we start, doors will open at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you can come in to register and have a light breakfast. And then we will end around 5:30 and convene in Reds. There's a bar restaurant in the facility in the conference center, and we'll celebrate at the end of the evening. The good thing about this event, it's a destination. So women have booked rooms the night before and the night of to be able to network, to celebrate, and to relax, you know?
That's going to be a great conference again.
Thank
So
you.
we're looking forward to it, I know.
Thank you.
But I want to ask you too, are there unique challenges that business owners face on Cape Cod? You mentioned the seasonality. Are there other challenges as well that make Cape Cod a unique place to try to do business?
Sure, I think it's a small community, however large it may be. It is small enough for people to really know each other or know of each other. And part of the mission of Cape Cod's Conference for Women is to foster collaboration. So I think challenges in working together, it's something that we're really working on, in that just because I'm a caterer and there's a caterer down the street does not mean that we're in competition. Some might see it like that. I tend to see that we're better together than we are apart, because I think there's enough in the world for everyone, right? And we're after sometimes the same thing, but sometimes different. And what you can't possibly handle, maybe I can. So say if you do things on a larger scale, and I may look for rehearsal dinners as opposed to the whole wedding, or the showers, bridal showers, as opposed to, you know, a big 300-person sit-down wedding. So I think collaboration has been one of the challenges on Cape Cod that we are really making some strides on, and people are really working together. There's some really awesome agencies out there. There's really awesome business ideas on Cape Cod. So we're conquering those challenges.
That's excellent.
I think she just answered my question.
Well, yeah, I mean, collaboration is a big part of what the Two Grannies on the Road talk about, and what you described is what I call co-opetition, where like businesses can work together in certain ways so that everyone can be successful, and it works very well.
Exactly.
If people are open to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love part of this process. I've been coining phrases and making up quotes, and I always wondered, how do people come up with a quote? And recently somebody was talking to me about collaboration, and there's something that we both want to win. And I said, it's not important that I win, but what I want to do is create a solid foundation on which the women of Cape Cod can stand and use their voices and their expertise, that we all might win, you know. I said, this is my heart, and this is driven. And I mean that. And I think, and that's basically what I'm trying to do, is change the way people think. And not everyone has to get in line what I say, and not everyone has to collaborate. I think when it's appropriate, and when it's appropriate, people collaborate. And when it's not, we do what we have to do. But there is room for collaboration.
Absolutely. So what was your biggest challenge in getting this conference to actually happen in the first place?
So it is a lot of work. I think you got to kind of almost lose your mind to say, I'm going to bring a conference to Cape Cod. I don't know too many people who do this and really stick with it. One of the things, because of my connections with BNI and other networking groups, and I've learned the art of networking, the art of relational networking, and knowing people and knowing my message and what I want to come across. So I had to raise money. And I think getting people to buy into my dream, this is a business. I am working hard to grow my business. And getting people to really feel my passion enough to support me and put up sponsorship dollars, and getting women to see that we all could win if you bring the best of what you have, your speaking abilities, your talents. I've come to employ a lot of people, which makes me really happy. All the vendors are paid, the florist, the DJ, the graphic artists, the web designers, and I'm really proud of that. And that takes a lot of work, and it's very challenging choosing who's right for you to work with. It's very challenging balancing budgets to make sure that those people are paid. It's kind of scary, but it fuels me. The fair fuels me to keep going, to keep seeking sponsors, raising money, partnering with others in the collaborations. But it is challenging. And then getting you know, that not everybody embraces what you do. Some people have said, what is she doing and why her, you know? And you have to quiet the noise and do the work. And I have some really good parents who are cheering me on. And my dad, who was the director of, what was he director? He worked for the federal government in the EPA, so the director of Environmental Protection Agency, right? And he put on conferences, unbeknownst to me, until I started doing this work. So he's able to give me some of the things that are right and some of the things that are wrong. He corrects me sometimes with my messaging, you know, say this, don't say that. My mother, she said, if you are kind, if you are humble, and if you know that this isn't about you, I'm with you every step of the way. And that, so there's a yin and a yang. Dad says, go after it, and Mom says, be kind and humble, you know. So I have some good mentors that keep me in line and spur me on, you know, when I need to answer questions, and a good advisory board, an excellent advisory board.
With that being said, how did you overcome all the challenges and obstacles that might have prevented the conference from happening?
So you have to have, like I said, a strong backbone. You have to quiet the noise. You have to get the encouragement.
Thick skin?
And yeah, and you really have to know at the end of the day what you're doing. You have to believe in yourself and believe in the work. You know, I believe in the work so much so that I said to the banks when I sit with you, I say, and I humbly say this, but with or without the sponsorship, I will build this conference woman by woman. And then we started this thing called partners, where women buy in at a really small cost, but my partners could have gone on forever. I stopped at a certain point because my website was kind of getting full. But partners, you know, where you click on to buy a ticket and you can shop my partners. And they found the value in that. Also, it's just, like I said, a real belief in what you're doing. So when you believe so strongly, I would tell people, I remember speaking with a local politician recently, and I said, with or without me, I want this conference for Cape Cod and the women of Cape Cod. So if something happens to me and I drop off the planet or anything happens, please continue the work. That's how much I believe in the work. That's how much I believe that we need this, and that the women of Cape Cod and the surrounding areas are hungry for this kind of getting together and sharing information and networking and finding. I mean, so many women contact me on a daily basis saying how inspired they are by the movement. Driven is a movement, and they're inspired. It's causing people to create events. It's causing people to expand their businesses. Dream about things that they wanted to do and actually doing them. So there's a lot that has occurred because of Cape Cod's Conference for Women.
Here's a video clip of Marie talking about the panel from last year's conference.
We wanted to feature women who were first in their industry. So I took great pains to really identify some women that would resonate with the women of Cape Cod, and I think we chose a really dynamic panel. We had Dorothy Savares, who is the president of Cape Cod 5 Cent Savings Bank, and she's also, they were our platinum sponsors. We had Wendy Northcross, the CEO of Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce, and we had Kathleen Schatzberg, President Emeritus of Cape Cod Community College. Dr. Susan Cushing, and she is a dentist, and we had Dr. Portia Nudlove, who is a professor associate professor at Mass Maritime. Lieutenant Nicole Stanley, she was the first female on the Mashpee firefighter.
Turning more now to the business community in general, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that business owners face today? You've been a business owner for quite a while, right? What are the challenges that business owners face?
There's a lot: time, resources, money to get your marketing out. You know, we have some environmental issues, weather issues where we live that could cause a business to stumble, say if it's a particularly bad winter or too hot of a summer. It could cause our flow of people that visit the Cape, to happen. I think particularly resources. Sometimes people are in need of money and not know the how-tos of running a business. But there's a lot of information out there. There's SCORE, business development. There's a lot of banks like our lead sponsor, Eastern Bank. They have a great small business loan program, a very good one. So it's information. I think the lack of information and getting that information to be able to implement that in their businesses.
Right.
What are your thoughts about retirement?
What's that?
Enough said.
I've never known. I said to my dad once, I said, Dad, everybody in our family who retires seems to pass away before they can really enjoy the fruits of their labor. By the time they retire, because they either love their job so much. I come from a long line, I think, of workers, workaholic kind of behaviors, or people who really love what they do. And by the time they retire, it's like a few years later they're gone. But my dad's been retired for a few years, and he's, he lived in Boston, suit and tie man, who retired to Alabama on, 5 or 6 acres of land and rides around on a little riding mower and has a dog and a horse and small horses. And I'm like, really? A garden? He's absolutely in love. And I don't see that for me. I've never worked traditionally in the first place, so it's all one big blur to me.
Yeah.
All I've ever known is to do something, so I don't know that doing, less than something is an option for me. So I've never worked traditionally anyway. Yeah.
But that's the way a lot of baby boomers are anyway. Like, what is retirement?
Yeah.
They're just going to continue with life or move on to something new.
Yeah. And I think, that 80 is a new 70 and 60 is a new 50, and it's true. We just, what I do believe in is we have a speaker, Jan Hively, and she will speak about transformational living. So basically, what is your what's next, and that we have worth and value long after retirement. So I'm really excited to be bringing that speaker and that topic to the conference.
Good.
Sounds like it's right up our alley.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to have to wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that went by
Really fast.
quickly. What you had to say was very, very fascinating, and I hope that a lot of people learn some stuff from what you have to say. What are your goals and dreams?
Well, we invite you to think outside the box.
We want to encourage you to step outside of your comfort zone.
And you know what? Just do it.
Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to watch for the next episode of
Two Grannies on the Road.